Everybody's back. That's right. I'm Bulldog legend Chris Grant. Wait, no, I'm not. I'm not strikingly handsome. I'm some ugly ginger dude named Jaymz Clements. G'day. I'm the host of the AFL Today Show. I'm joined as per usual by a couple of dingai. One over there. It's the stats boy, Lee McAllion. What's going on, stats guy?
Absolutely. Bit rattled today. I don't know why.
Absolutely what?
I don't know why. But Chris Grant.
Why did he just say absolutely?
Because he's rattled.
I'm just always absolutely rattled. Chris Grant as well. Robbed of a Brownlow, that man. He should have won one. Got suspended in the year. And then the guy that hit him said, oh, yeah, I didn't actually hit him. And then should have won a Brownlow. So absolutely filthy for Chris Grant.
Good chat.
I'm here as well.
Corey McKernan, another Brownlow winner. But wasn't?
Yeah.
Interesting. And next to him is social guy Leo.
Finally getting the intro. Nah, feeling good, Jim. We've changed places, so maybe stats guy is he's a bit off.
Yeah, I feel like you. Maybe that's why.
His angle is weird. Either way, this is the AFL Today Show. This is the Thursday Night Teams show. Teams, it's crucial. And I'll tell you what, we've got some big ones this week. The cool part is you can check out all of the AFL Today gear across all of the socials as well. YouTube, what is it? X,
Facey,
Instagram,
TikTok.
TikTok is the big one.
TikTok is
get around all of them or Stats Guy will try to fight you. So, footy is back. This is the Round 11 full-blown preview show. And wow, howdy. I'll tell you what.
Wow, howdy.
Wow, howdy. I'm just trying to beat BT at this point. We've got a little bit of news popping up before we get into the teams. Mullets, stats boy.
Yeah, ABC
stats.
did a research into AFL mullets. It was a bit higher than I thought. 19% of the league have one.
I thought that was low.
Do you think that's a lot?
I feel like everyone has a mullet.
I feel like back in the day, that's even higher than the, 80s and when the mullet was absolutely prime. Massive article and breakdown from ABC. It's like a 4-page thing. It has graphics. It's amazing. And they've just gone into the mullets. I absolutely loved it. And I think a few of our followers wouldn't mind that article as well.
I want to read it in full properly.
It's fun.
Because it feels like 1 in 5 might be a little bit much. Like,
it
I
says
feel
just under 19%, but yeah,
exactly
that's
right. But still 1 in 5. Let's just all be real.
I thought it was probably more.
But 19%, like when you think about a full-blown mullet, you think about like the specific haircuts. Are we literally just breaking down into simply it's shorter on the sides and longer at the back a little bit?
Yeah.
I think that's so it's not a full-blown mullet. So
that's literally the definition, so I think that might be right. Anyway, other little bits of news. Harley Reid, my favourite future Carlton Blue, if you listen to yesterday's show, he's not homesick or else he's lying to Tim Watson. That's never happened before. But still, have you done drugs, Job? No. But still, Tim Watson, he's just, I don't know, if there's like a media personality that just gets my goat for being like wildly uninteresting, but also a very excellent footballer. It's Tim Watson.
Yep.
But Harley Reid's like, oh, I've got this giant head. No, I'm not homesick. And you're like, all right, I'll take your word for it.
There we go.
Even though last week you said, oh, yeah, it was a bit tough missing out on my family and just had a bit of a cry. But that's cool. Come play for the Blues. Other little bits of news popping off. Damien Hardwick. He got upset about Victorian clubs and their stance on travel burdens for the other clubs outside of Victoria.
It's a bit rich.
It's a bit rich for a bloke who whinged about travelling to Marvel.
Yeah, literally a couple of kilometres down the road, he used to whinge. Yeah.
About Marvel. He's like, no, these guys are we have to travel so much more. It's like, yeah, you travelled 5 blocks. Shut up.
Maybe get some fans in the Gold
Coast. He's playing at Marvel this week, so maybe that's just brought back memories of...
I think he just gets angry every time. Dimmer is just like, I hate Marvel. I just hate it. He's like, I will bet I'm not subscribed to Disney Plus. I'm like, I will punch like Tony Stark in the head. I'm like, I hate Captain America. Don't even get me started on the Hulk. And you're like, Dimmer, what is going on, mate? He's like, oh, he's just like losing it.
You heard it here first. Dimmer laid out, I reckon, for that game, just because he remembered it was at Marvel. They're like, Dimmer, you're on the plane. Turn this plane around. Let the boys off. I'm going home. I'm going back to the Gold Coast in my yacht.
And the last little bit of news, Tassie. They've got Brendan Gale on board essentially as their CEO, right? So
awesome.
The next movement is apparently Nathan Buckley as coach, ? I
think there was someone said that he should go for it. I don't know if Tassie are gunning for it, but when his name's out there, you might as well go for it. I think he's a great coach, Nathan Buckley. Personally.
This just in. AFL Today Show host Jaymz Clements up for the gig of the head coach of Tassie.
Would you live in Tassie?
I would definitely not live in Tassie.
Okay, James Sicily.
Yeah, James Sicily over here.
Yeah, James Sicily and I have two things in common: a hatred of Tassie and a first name. So there
Red
we
hair,
go.
red hair.
Red hair as well.
You're also gingers. Three.
Gun
Love
full
that.
backs.
Also, we will punch on with an entire crowd full of Taswegians. Anyway, no, look, Nathan Buckley or Jaymz Clements is coach of the Tasmanian Devils. Tasmania Devils? No,
Yeah.
it's not Tasmanian, is it? It's Tasmania.
Tasmania.
As a full-blown Devils member,
Are you?
I really wish Alex was here. Because I'm not some sort of fake fan coward like he is. But anyway, I will still coach you Tassie if you ask, and also throw a lot of money at me. Right, let's do some game previews though. We are about to kick into the Bulldogs Sydney game at Marvel Stadium for Thursday night footy.
Yeah.
What I want to do actually with these songs is come up with the Sunday Night Football NFL tunes and just like waiting all day for Thursday night.
I've never heard that one.
And away we go. So I will actually have a
excited.
battery of songs for the next week.
For next week.
Sorry,
right?
Leo, you're going to be on Katiki doing stuff in buses. Just hand stuff. It's going to be okay. But the point's going to be I will have songs set up for each of those days. It's going to be awesome.
Is the
Trust me.
production standard going to be as big as the NFL?
Basically, it'll be like me on a big
we get a music
huge-
video?
It'll be on
huge thing.
the arts centre.
It'll be me dancing with Cripper. It's going to be awesome. Can't
We'll
wait.
bring Cripper in. Like, what am I doing
So
today?
the over-under actually for this game. So Sydney is still a favourite for tonight's game, 9.5 points. But the over-under has actually risen quite dramatically, 172.5.
Like
So
we predicted, that it should be a bit higher.
it should have been higher, and it is. So I think I'm still sitting fat with my Sydney pick by 7. Stats boy, you were.
Sydney by 18. I think I said that yesterday as well.
And
Sydney
Leo?
by 16.
All right, we all think
I
it'll be
wouldn't
fairly
be
tight.
surprised the
Yeah,
Dogs
it
win
will
this
be.
because they win these random games and they do lift against Sydney.
Yeah.
But you got to
Sydney
tip
are a
Sydney
bit
at the
weird at
moment.
Marvel as well, I feel. You don't know what you're going to get.
They're not too bad. No, they've won the last 2 or 3 there. They're all right.
They did beat Essendon there a couple of years ago, but they let Essendon back in it late. I don't know.
They also almost lost to North there last year, right?
Yeah,
So-
when we had the interchange issue, that was horrible.
So, I mean, it could be a weird, tricky one. And we know the Dogs do have like these random games where like Jamar or Cody will just kick 6
Yeah.
at Marvel. And you're like, oh, that happened. Cool. Anyway, I think we're all still going Sydney there. Should be a pretty interesting, weird
Fun
game.
game, I reckon.
So,
Definitely.
be fascinating to see how many people they get there for a Thursday for a Sydney Dogs game.
I think it'll be a few. You got lots of South Melbourne Dogs.
Bit of
will turn
2016
up.
vibes as
Yeah,
well.
I think it'll be a decent crowd.
Right. Friday night footy. Can we just get KFC to sponsor this show? I just want to sit here and
Yeah.
eat chicken.
Speaking
Let's
of,
go.
it's on the screen.
Yeah.
Party
we go.
time. Freo are actually favourites against the Collingwood Magpies on Friday night football. What is going on
It's got
here?
to be because of the outs, surely.
4.5 point
No,
favourites.
it was already favourites before that.
Out there up the stadium. Is this 8:10 our time?
It is
That's shocking, yeah.
because of obviously the time difference. Yeah.
I understand how time
Yeah,
differences works.
but like every night game in Perth is always 8:10.
All right. It's Friday though. Like, just make it.
They could make it a bit
Just knock
earlier,
off
yeah.
early. It's
No, I
like
agree with
4:30.
that.
The over-under, though, is a very, very, very low 153.5. Now, you might think that's strange, and then you think about the offensive output of both of these teams. You're like, that actually makes a little bit of sense. In terms of the ins and outs, there are a lot of ins
Whoa, yeah.
for this Pies
Just
team.
as many outs.
Let's start with Wally Yellop. Sean Darcy and Corey Wagner. Hello.
He used to play for North, actually. He was
And
horrible
Melbourne?
for us. And Melbourne, yeah. I
think Melbourne,
And he had 2 years off, and then he came back in for Freo, and like, oh, you're actually all right.
Nice.
And he's a good player.
Paddy Boss and Michael Friedrich come out of the
Jim reading
Frederick.
the players' names is
my guy, Jim.
my favourite time of the week.
I'm basically, every time I now pronounce a name, you have to figure out whether or not I'm taking the piss or actually trying to read it properly.
That one was reading it properly. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Collingwood, income, Charlie Dean.
Yep.
Sure. Bo McCreary, fellow Ginge. Brody Myercheck, I don't know, fellow great goal kicker. Edward Allen and Will Parker. Out go Finn McRae, Will Oskin Elliott, Jordan DeGoey, Reef McInnes, and Oleg Markov. Personal reasons. Is it to trim his mustache? I don't know. But
Yeah,
either way, I
curl
hope
it a bit
those are-
more, maybe. Yeah.
But Will Parker, Ed Allen, in they come. So a couple of debutantes, which you kind of
Will
like to see.
Parker's the ex-cricketer.
Yes, he played
played for Hobart.
for
Leggy, right?
Hobart. Did he play for
Beasley, yeah.
Victoria at all?
I think
Or
he was
Tassie?
on their like squad.
Yeah, yeah. That's
So
pretty cool.
you can see why Freo might be favourites here because it is a pretty interestingly, like you can't really say Collingwood are inexperienced ever
No.
Because like they have 700 million games played.
They got Scott Pendlebury.
Steel side bottom and Scott Pendlebury combined, right? So in a way you go. But you look at that and you're like, yeah, they've named Nick Dacos in the half forward spot. Myercheck, Harvey Harrison, Edward Allen. Like it's a pretty thin on the ground Pies team.
Line,
So be interesting to see what happens here. Have we got some stats here, Stats Boy?
Yeah, Collingwood have won 7 of their last 8 interstate games, won by 26 in the last meeting at Optus. I think that over-under is 153.5 as well because Freo bring the clamps. If you're talking about clamps, any Ross Lions side in the past, obviously you used to coach them, they still bring the clamps. Second best defense in the league, which is really, really surprising. You've got a lot of guys that run off, but even Luke Ryan's been okay lockdown.
He's been awesome.
Yeah, but I'm saying lockdown, usually just runs off and gets the ball, but he's been great at taking marks, Hayden Young. So yeah, second best defense in the league. Last 6 night meetings between these sides have gone under. So even if you're thinking about the 153.5.
So low though.
It's really low, but Collingwood don't have any forwards right now. Freo are just not known for their big forwards. I'm going the under in that one as well.
I'll pay that. I'd probably go the under here too, just because I think we've actually already seen this a couple of times already this year, right? Where it's like some weird gross like 70 to 60 sort of game.
I'm going to be 70s,
like
yeah.
It's either the Thursday or the Friday night. It's like, or the Saturday actually. It wasn't last week. Last week it wasn't because we had like some massive nighttime game scores, but there's always one that sort of skims through and you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
And I think last week it was actually Freo Saints, wasn't it? It was
Freo Port the other week, that was horrible that game.
Pretty tough one. So I think, look, the big question for this one is, are Freo a finals team? And this is one of those games where it'll probably dictate a lot of their season, right? Where the Pies are on the up and up and up and up after a pretty slow start. Freo have been they've had some absolute Barry Crocker shocker losses, right? And you feel like a couple of kicks of the ball either way, who knows where they'd be. But at the moment, they are ninth.
I'm looking at the ladder, yeah.
And you're like, they're one of the myriad of 6-4 teams, along with my beloved Blues. The question is, like, if they win this, they're putting themselves in a pretty good position to actually play finals. So what do you reckon? Are they a finals team?
I think so.
I
think because of the second best defense in the league, that puts them in that category. They do have problems on offense, of course, but if you're that good at defending your opposition, I think you're
a chance. That's how Saints pretty much made it last year with defense. I'm going to say I think the top 7 I think are in finals. I know it's very early to say, but I think all of those teams are finals worthy. And then it's out of Gold Coast and Carlton. And I think Gold Coast and Carlton are ahead of Freo. So, yeah, I'd say Carlton and then Gold Coast and Freo just miss out.
It's probably a topic for a different time, probably for our midweek show.
Midweek show, yeah.
But it's trying to figure out your mid-season 8. But at the same time, like I still think there's big questions around Port, GWS, Melbourne after they lost to West Coast.
Yeah.
Even on my beloved Carlton, etc.
There's not so much talent on those teams.
I'm still tipping the Pies by 7 in this one in a really, really close slog. Leo, what are you doing?
Pies by 8. So
nice.
To your gym,
Closest to the pin. Stats Boy.
I'm going Freo. Their midfield's awesome. As I mentioned, their backline's awesome. They've got Collingwood have no forwards that are going to kick enough goals here. And then you got the clamps.
They could Myercheck.
Yeah, but he hasn't been great. Well, he has been pretty horrible this year. So I'm going to go Freo, what did I do? By 8. I think they're going to win by 8. I think they're going to bring the clamps, just defensively lock them down, and then Sarong's going to have an absolute blinder.
It is tough. Like when you look at that sort of lineup that they've got, they're playing like they've listed Lipinski at full forward. You're like,
really?
Sure. Anyway, there you go. That's Friday Night Footy. Friday Night Footy. Saturday, we go down to Tassie, to Blunston Arena. Where your Blundstones. 1:45 in the afternoon. North Melbourne are hosting the Port Adelaide Power. The Power are 44.5-point favourite, Stats Boy.
Yeah.
Against your beloved Roos. The over-under is 175.5. In terms of over-unders, I'd be fascinated to know what it's like in Adelaide because it feels like some of those are just like absolute, what is going on here games? And others, 13! Like just, it goes off, right?
Yeah, you're right, yeah.
I know it's a tricky one. 175.5. It feels like the Power could...
Because they've got a decent offense.
Have a crack.
Yeah.
They were pretty meh last week though, right? The Power, weren't they?
Yes.
They should have been kicking much bigger scores. They've just kicked so many behinds. It's like, if I was a Power fan, I'd be so frustrated with how inaccurate they've kicked.
A lot of the
weeks.
behinds last week was...
Not last week, but yeah.
Hawthorn and how they played.
Yeah, but in the before that, I think they've kicked a lot of
they've got
easy
some
shots
big
missed.
ins. Sweet and Rosie back, so not.
Let's
happy
do the ins and
reading
outs
for-
then.
Yes.
North
Jackson Archer comes back in for the Roos.
I'm happy with that. He went out injured the other week.
In place of Bergman. And in for Yartapulte, we have Jordan Sweet, Connor Rose, C. Rosie.
That's a big in.
The most handsome man in the AFL.
Is his hammy all right?
Lockie Jones as well, which is kind of nice. Charlie Dixon is managed. I like that they've gone, don't come to Tassie. Charlie's, I'm not going to Tassie.
Yeah, he's the James Sicily theory.
Don't that Vicentini. He's out too. And so Josh Sin got injured too, which is, the Josh Sin one was tough. This is, can we rank all of Jason Horne-Francis' 50th game?
against North.
Oh, I'm going to boo very loudly through my screen. I
Do you reckon
cannot
they'll hear
wait.
you down there in Tassie?
I hate that guy. They'll hear me, yeah.
This is the Hornet Cup, which is awesome. Is the Hornet Cup the one from like Cars, the Pixar
No, Piston
movie?
Cup.
Piston Cup.
I'm big
Sounds
Cars.
It was one of the. I think one of the Cars was maybe the Hornets or something.
Yeah, Chick Hicks.
But the Hornet 50 games, rank them all. Stats guy, quick go.
No, he take an ice bath and then
His
we'll
ones for North at the end.
Last 2 weeks, very good.
He only had like one game good. Well, a good game for us once. I can't even
game
talk.
One game good.
One game good.
Me speak,
I talk good.
Me speak English good.
That's impossible.
Good job. But Hornet, like it's fascinating to watch this power team, right? Like week in, week out. So Rosie goes out, but Hornet steps up massively. Houston gets a million touches, and Butters just goes to like a completely different level of just like, hey, watch me ruin this game.
17 touches in
He
one
didn't
quarter.
have an opponent in the last quarter.
It's crazy. But
Still, it's
now
very good.
Rosie comes back in. Does that boost them up? Does it make him even better? You'd assume that. Sweet in place of Vicentini, you'd think that's a little bit better too. This team is very strange though. Like it's really
I just
hard to
look
trust
down
the
at the
power.
tips.
Yep.
Because I'm taking the North Melbourne Kangaroos by 1 point.
Galaxy Brain.
My big question is, if it happens in Tassie, would a North win still count?
Yes, if we win, I'm heading down there for the week, I reckon. Just to party with the locals.
I'm surprised and angry that you're not actually going down anyway. This is a home game.
Stats guy.
I thought...
My team is 0-10. I used to go every year, and I'm not
Used
going
to.
there when we're going to get smashed by 100 points.
Jeez, just imagine if you had a good coach. Oh,
Actually, not 100 points, but yeah. No, I'm on board with you finally. Took me 0-9, I think, to agree that our coach is, he's cooked.
So if you actually extrapolate what I've said there, it's North Adelaide by...
Surely you're not tipping us.
No, I don't think North win this one. I'm actually going to go power. So,
Coward.
all right, let's do it.
He's gone. Leo's pretty much gone the chicken, and then
Nobody calls me chicken.
Jim's just taking the bait.
So I had a plan to change that, North by 1. But it is what do I look, I hate people who always say, what do I always say? But what do I always say? Weird stuff happens in Tassie. It's Tassie. Weird stuff just happens there.
Not for a while.
I think the point here, I reckon North could pull out an absolute shocker and win this. So let's go.
I hope you're right, Jim, but I'm going power by 35. They just, without Dixon, I don't think they're going to blow this one away. Similar to the Essendon game last week, where the North were hanging around for 2 or 3 quarters. Last quarter, we just lose it. We're literally ranked 17th and 18th offense and defense.
Can I at least change my pick to then at least be power, like North
Jim,
cover?
you can change your pick.
North cover.
No one's got a knife to you. Oh, maybe they do. I don't know. But
Stats Boy's just like got a gun underneath there. North, I think, should cover this. 44.5 is like...
That's very different to winning 44.
It's the little wins.
The little wins.
44.5 is a lot because I think
we
this
can
strange
cover
stuff
that,
happens. And like what we've seen Power do time and time again is like just throw out these shocking games. You're like, what is that? Ugh.
It's just, I think
and then they have some random awesome games. You just don't know what's going to happen week on week.
The line's that big because we've literally played them the last 2 times in Tassie, lost by 60 plus both times. So I don't know why the AFL just, that was a great game both times. Let's
Because they're
put down there
protecting
again.
Horne-Francis from the
boos.
from the
That's
riots
true.
of
I'll pay
the
that.
North.
I would run
Melbourne
on the
crowd.
ground,
Who are you taking, Leo?
Port by 32. I think North cover. I wasn't impressed by Port before Hawthorn choked last week.
Yep.
Yeah, fraud watch.
The fact that Hawthorn did not win that game is hilarious. So
Don't talk to me, Jim.
Port are definitely on fraud watch, and this might be where they actually
They're
get-
not on fraud watch. They are frauds.
They are frauds,
Okay.
but they're on fraud watch because they're 8-2. No, 7-3. I'm just going to start saying words. 7-3. I had it.
3 and 7.
What adds up to 10? Away we go.
10 huh?
But they are on fraud watch. They're 7-3. They're like 3rd on the ladder. Like there's
Yeah.
like at least 2 of those wins
should have
that
lost
they've
a
had. You're
couple
like,
of them, yeah.
what are you talking? Like the Geelong game they nearly lost. The Hawthorn game they definitely should have lost.
They always lose to
They
Adelaide.
lose the showdown.
They
Like,
not
what are we
only
doing?
should have lost to Hawthorn, they should have got smashed. Hawthorn had that.
Blew it. Anyway,
Leo doesn't want to talk about that anymore.
go
on.
Roos. Prove me wrong.
Go
boys.
Roos, thank you.
Carlton. My beloved Blues are 16.5-point favourites against Gold Coast Suns this weekend at Marvel Stadium. 135. This is a very, very strange... Is that 135?
Must be 145.
145.
I think it's
145. No, it's 145.
Oh,
it's
no,
the same
look.
time. Weirdly, they're both at the same time. I just had a look.
That's not annoying at all. The over-under for this one is 175.5, which probably comes off the back of Gold Coast just belting Geelong.
The Darwin Suns. Yeah.
Love the Darwin Suns. So I'd probably look at the over for this because Carlton GWS played a game that I expect will be very similar to this one, about a month ago, and that just sort of ticked over when Carlton got to like the 114 mark, and
Carlton Adelaide
GWS sort of
as well.
kept sneaking up as well, and they only won by 14. So Carlton Adelaide was the exact
way
same,
over,
100 to 98. So I think this will go over. The Blues have these weird games against Gold Coast. They won. This was their turning point last year. So the big question for this one is this where the Blues turnaround happens? We talked about how they've got a really, really, really tough 6 weeks in the middle of the season. Then the schedule opens up a little bit in the back half, right? So they won the Melbourne game. They get absolutely smashed, as I predicted, by Sydney last week. We all knew that was going to happen. This is the crucial sort of game in this run where if they can win this, they can at least go 500 for that little run. And it keeps your season on track to a degree of making finals. And that's all that matters, right?
Yep.
Making the finals. So is this where it happens? Or is this the proving ground for the Suns where it's like, we are hands up, we are legit. Look at us. We're a proper, I'm a real boy kind of vibe, right? Away they go. Like Dimmer is like Geppetto. He's like, I'm not making you my son. The Suns.
What was your Dimmer? Was that?
And away we go. Dimmer Hardwick, definitely Italian. Anyway.
Timotino.
The point being, I worry a lot about the Carlton midfield.
Yeah.
Like defensively, I've talked about their shortcomings time and time
We've said
again.
this since round one, pretty much.
And they get shredded defensively in the midfield.
Yeah.
And Gold Coast Suns have a midfield that will just absolutely burn you apart, which is what they did last week to Geelong. I could easily see that happening again. I think Carlton do just enough to like fall over the line in this one, but I don't know. It's Marvel. It's weird. Gold Coast and Marvel stats, boy. Give us some stats.
Gold Coast and Marvel, not great. 4-7 the last 5 years. I think a few of those wins were against North, and they actually smashed us there. Home team has covered the line in 16 of the last 18 Gold Coast games, mainly because Gold Coast has lost their last 10 away games.
Ooh.
So they're always favourite at home, and they're always underdogs away.
Checks
That's just
out.
what always happens the last couple of years with Gold Coast. They just struggle away from home. Yeah, so no good at all.
So in terms of the back line for the Suns, like that might be where we saw it in the game that Carlton won up there last year. That was the famous Charlie Curnow goes back, takes a mark on the goal line.
That's right, yeah.
Saves the game, and then we smashed them at the G in like June.
All Australian
July,
centre half
whatever.
back, Charlie Curnow.
And that was like where it all that's where it all sort of turned around for Carlton last year. I think Blues win this by less than a goal.
Should we talk about some ins and outs?
The ins and outs. Thank you, Seth.
Sard as well.
That's right, because
a
lot of this, I literally wrote down my pick after I saw the ins and outs of this. So we've got Adam Sard, Lockie Cow, and Moo.
We've got a moo and a woof coming back in.
And Fogarty. That's good. You got a moo and a woof.
Yeah.
I love, look, it's interactive footy.
Good vibes.
This is great. It's
the
all about the
farmers are
vibes.
loving it.
Corey Durden goes out. Pitterner broke his finger like 2 weeks ago, and then they sort of went, oh, yeah, now you're also really cooked. So he's gone. Marchbank managed as well, which is one of those ones where they brought him back for a little bit. They now have Sard available. Off he goes. That feels fair. Which means TDK, Tom DeKoning, by himself in the ruck. I want to see it. Let's go. It's up against Witsy. For the Suns, in comes my beloved Jed Walter. What do I do with this game? What do I do?
Are you going to wear a split top?
I'll be like one of the Kelsey. I'll be like Travis Kelsey's mum.
Yeah. When she wears
Donna. Call me Donna Jim Clements. I love this.
You look like Donna.
There we go. Just split Jed Walter top and Charlie Curnow on the other. Well, I wear a Cade Simpson jersey. My beloved Cade
Number
Simpson.
6.
Number 6.
Yeah.
In comes Jed Walter, though, the greatest player in the AFL. Witsy. Nick Holman, interesting in, and Jake Rogers as well. Out goes Fiorini, Ned Moyle, Alex Davies, and Sam Day. Tough one for Sam Day. He's like, I was awesome last week.
He actually played all right, yeah.
So a tough one, but I'm still going the Blues by 4 because I think with Sard sort of helping that back line with McGovern and Sard and Brody Kemp and Weeders, they should be just solid enough, I think, in the back half that even if it's tight, they fall over the line and just give me another heart attack because that's great fun. Stats, boy?
I'll go Carlton by 13. Like you said, I think, the defense, not even the lockdown defense, but just Saad running off, giving that run, that just accurate kick. All the other defenders you have are very sort of locked down and like to stay on their man a lot, whereas Saad will provide a bit of run, and I think that's a huge in. And yeah, the back line of the Suns is going all right, but I think, your forwards are going to have a bit of a field day in this one. So 13, I'm going to say the Blues.
Yeah, because, I mean, a lot of it is like like Mac Andrew up against either Harry Mackay or
he's going really
Charlie.
well, yeah.
He's playing awesome at the moment.
I thought he got injured last game. But
He came
was
off injured for a bit.
He was limping around. Like, it looked like maybe it was a corky or whatever.
Maybe because they were winning by like 60,
but,
they were like, you can just stay off probably, yeah.
But like stupid sexy Flanders and stuff as well. Like
he's awesome.
That punch off the halfback. Like, it's going to be pretty interesting. But Leo, what do you think?
Blues by under a goal. I just
as
think
usual.
Yeah, as usual. But Suns just don't win away.
No.
Like, it's completely different. Like, you're going from hot Darwin to Marvel.
I really wish Carlton were playing this game at the MCG because that's where we smashed them last year.
Actually, they're really bad at the MCG because they hardly ever play
shocking.
You'll smash them here, don't worry.
Fingers crossed. Let's go down to Geelong for the GMHBA clash against the GWS Giants. The Cats, coming off a smashing of their own up in the Northern Territory, they are 10.5-point favourites against the Giants, which seems weird. The over-under is 181.5.
That seems a lot.
That's a lot. The Giants have really struggled to score the last few weeks. It's been absolutely like horror show vibes. The thing is, hey, stats guy.
Hello.
What's GWS's record at GMHBA?
They've surprisingly, they've won the last 3 games of GMHBA. It's the fortress. In my lifetime, you go to Geelong, you go, we're already going to lose. How much are we going to lose by? Could it be 200? Could it be 100? You always lose there. Giants have cracked the code. They've won the last 3 at GMHBA.
It's crazy. Could they do it again?
No.
But that's the problem. As I said, that struggling GWS offense, they have kicked 69, 62, and 43.
That's
not great.
The 43 was horrible. They just couldn't get anything going against the Dogs.
It was a slog last week. I don't know. You got any vibes on this one here, Leo?
There's some pretty good ins for Geelong.
Oh,
Let's do it.
Very good ins.
It is a
actually, we haven't
slew.
talked about that, yeah.
The big question is, like, are the Cats frauds? Let's do the ins and outs. We'll find out because I think this actually sort of is the tipping point.
Yeah.
Because they bring back Tomahawk. Not bad. Tom Hawkins. Mitch Duncan can play a bit. Sam De Koning.
He's good, yeah.
Might be the better of the De Konings. We don't know yet.
Oh, not this year.
Maybe.
I don't think so.
And Jezza. He's sick and tired of fighting his cows and he's come back in. Off he goes. Out goes Parfitt, Rowan, Cam Guthrie, which is a tough one, Mark O'Connor as well. For the Giants, Lee Kalir, Toby McMullen, Ryan Angwin, and James Peterson.
Just compare those ins.
None of those.
Not quite good.
That's the story for me.
I like Aaliyah, and then the rest are just very plain.
Yeah, but you're comparing Lee Kalir to Sam De Koning.
It's tough.
Like, Aaliyah's going to be a good player,
Sam
but De Koning is a way better player
going
than
under
Lee
the
Kalir.
radar as having a very average season this year.
So do you want to look down the camera and say Lee Kalir is a better footballer than Sam De Koning?
No, I don't.
Yeah, because you're an idiot,
I'm
so
saying
shush.
right now that is good in for GWS.
It is,
it's
but
a fine one, but it's not
it's
as
not
good.
comparable to
Jack
Geelong.
Buckley,
I know.
Jacob Weir, Connor Stone, and Darcy Jones all out as well. It's a hard one, I think, for the Giants. I think this is a fun midfield matchup at least, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just don't know
sort
if
of. Giants midfield is a lot better.
Giants has just copped a lot of hits over the last few weeks.
Cats have been competitive in there. Like, we thought they weren't going to be, but they have.
That's where they've been losing. Like that's where they lost the game against the Suns. They could not win a clearance.
who is competitive
Against Gold Coast.
Gold Coast
Yeah,
when
no,
they're
I
at
give it
home?
up.
Like, North got smashed, Hawks got smashed. Like, it's hard to play them up there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So I think this would be an interesting one. I think GWS, this forward line could actually fire up a little bit.
They have to at some point because the start of the season they were
Big
amazing.
Toby Green game, maybe. I think Geelong still win this by 5, but I think it's an absolute thriller down there Saturday afternoon at GWS. GMHBA.
GWS.
Lots of G's.
NG.
Leo, who do you think wins this?
Cats by 17. To answer your question, I don't think the Cats are frauds.
Oh, yeah, that was the big question.
You did. No, you said that before. Yeah.
I think the forward line of Geelong is still one of the best in the competition, and their back line, although it may not be in the best of form, it's still pretty good structurally.
Yeah,
You've
so
got
you've
Tom
got-
Stewart, Sam De Koning,
Stewart
Jack
just
Henry.
needs to snap out of it. He hasn't played well. He's doing turnover. It's like he's still half concussed, which is very sad. But I hope he's all right.
very sad.
Mainly for my SuperCoach team, but yeah, and he's well.
It is sad if
Who
he's
you-
still concussed.
who you taking
He's not
stats
still
by?
concussed. Going Geelong by 20. If you said at the start of the season, maybe 4 rounds in, when GWS was absolutely flying, you'd probably tip GWS with their form at GMHBA, but they've been horrible. So Cats will kick too big of a score.
Well, Geelong are now 7-3. They had won 7 straight, right?
Yeah.
So GWS had been flying. They're 6-4 and have lost, 3 of the last 4?
Cats lost 2 of them by a goal, right? Yeah, so.
And then got crushed last week. So,
Yeah.
tricky one. There's going to be a great game.
Yep.
Another great game. One of the greatest on the AFL calendar. Dreamtime at the G. We've got Richmond versus Essendon. 42.5-point favourites of the Bombers. Oh, geez.
Usually this,
I thought that'd be a
line
bit
is really
more,
close.
to be honest.
I think because it's Dreamtime, they're just like, they
Richmond,
might lift
no.
it.
They put up a fight.
Yeah.
No, they
It's like,
won't.
yeah, hey kid, want to see a dead body? Over-unders 165.5. Essendon could almost do that by themselves.
They could.
Well, Brisbane put up, what was it,
163?
163? Yeah.
So
I don't
that
think
was,
Essendon could score.
I actually had old mate. She was like, "Oh, did you see the football?" I'm like, "Yes, I saw it." And
Or just in general?
the over/under, basically Brisbane did
you
it by
seen it,
themselves. So,
Yeah, the over, yeah.
it was a tricky one. So pull one out for the Tigers. The ins and outs for this one,
Yeah,
for
let's have a look.
Dreamtime. Liam Baker, happy days, I
Yep.
guess. Samson Ryan, Seth Campbell, out go Tyler Young, Reece Mansell, and Matty Coulthard.
Reece Mansell.
Ryan Mansell. What am I saying? I'm reading very quickly.
That was on purpose, that one.
Oh,
He thinks
Reece.
he looks like a Reece. He looks like a Reece, that
I feel like
guy.
there's another Reece Mansell that I've seen somewhere else. But anyway, in
Reece,
for
what's
Essendon.
what's that singer? Reece Maston. Is that who you're thinking of? Remember that guy from like Australia's Got
It was
Talent?
like X Factor,
Tw-
like,
yeah.
No, let him cook.
I don't know any of his songs. I just remember. Is that who you're talking about?
Let him cook.
Like this man in the kitchen.
He's a big Reece
In
Maston.
for the Bombers, Nate Caddy makes his debut. That's kind of fun. Nick
Yep.
Cox and Jordan Ridley, big one in as well.
Huge ins.
You've got Elijah Sartis,
Sartis, yeah. Bang.
Dylan Shield. Is it Shield? Yeah. Harrison Jones.
No, it's
Hazza-
Jones.
I miss
Not Jones.
Hazza Jones going out.
Spanish.
España. This is the big question is like how much do Essendon win by?
Yeah, they're going to smash him.
The other question is could the Bombers still win if Michael Long was just played a good game?
Yeah, they're doing the long walk to
I
the
reckon
G.
that'd be fine.
He
Do the
just-
long walk?
Long walk to the G.
Just
He
keep
just
walking.
walk onto the
Keep
ground,
walking.
mate. He's
Walk
doing the long
onto the
walk.
ground.
Give him a
jump
Sharon
rope.
at
Away we go.
some stage and he'll kick a goal.
I reckon kick 3 on the Tigers at the moment. Jeez.
That'd be pretty cool.
Give us some stats, boy.
Well, we got some all-time Dreamtime stats. That doesn't roll off the tongue very nicely. Richmond 12 and
All-time Dreamtime. I feel like I think you
No,
might just
I
have
don't
a
know. I
tongue
don't like
problem.
that. I don't like that. There's something about it. Richmond ahead of
Is
the.
this why you're 0-10 on the scoreboard as well as in your Tinder profile? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
You've got a lot of tongue problems.
I told the government to stop giving Jim access to my phone. It's a bit creepy. But
The government?
Anyway, yeah, something. I don't know. The FBI. Anyway, Richmond lead the head-to-heads 12-7 against Essendon in Dreamtime. But this one's a different story. Essendon won by 1 point last year.
that was a
Do you
great
remember
game.
that?
Yeah,
Durham
awesome.
match winner. Did he mark it in the square?
Yeah, in the
that was
square, yeah.
unbelievable. That
Awesome.
last play of the whole game, Durham kicked the match winner, so that was awesome. Essendon won the last 11 matches as favourite, so they're up and about again. They're going to be heavy favourites.
Up and about.
Richmond decimated with injuries, failed to cover the line in their last 5.
Nice one. I wanted to go bigger on this one. Essendon by 48. I thought it could be substantially larger.
It could be, yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I don't know if Dreamtime games will just be massive blowouts.
People like these sort of big games, like same as hands like that. People do lift.
You
I
easily
guess.
just turn it into a grind.
But
so
Richmond have had so many injuries.
they are so bad. There is like good news on the horizon for them getting some of their dudes back. It's just not this week.
Maybe after round 21 when they're
Who do you
playing
like?
I'm going Essendon by 60. I think that line is a little bit too small. Essendon just have been a really good team. Obviously, Jim said they're the best team in the world.
Prove me wrong, Bombers. Prove
World
me wrong.
champions.
Best team in the AFL, the Essendon Bomb Race.
I think if they don't cover that line, it's a disappointment. Like they'll be like, "Ooh, we didn't play that well." I think you got to cover that 40-ish mark. Otherwise, they're like,
That's why
like a loss.
That's why I said 48.
Yeah.
Like you need to win it by
Otherwise,
like
they won't
more than
feel confident,
43.
I don't
It's
think.
just like,
Yeah.
ugh. That's basically like if Richmond cover, that's a win.
Yeah,
Like-
I agree.
You should like put 1.5 on the ladder.
Yeah.
Leo?
Essendon by 85.
Oh,
like this.
This will be
I
an
like
this. A bit more
absolute
aggressive.
smashing. It's also Stringer's 200th game, so this could be a big game for his contract. I'm just saying.
Contract year Stringer is this, what about
Contract year Jake Stringer
Milestone
is
game
one of
Stringer.
the, is one of
Over
the
under on
best.
Jakey Stringer barrels in this game, 2.5.
Ooh.
Under. Oh.
He's playing for a contract.
Let's go.
Let's go 3.
Jakey.
Come on.
Let's go 3 back.
6?
Let's go 10.
Every time he gets the ball, he barrels it.
We're all taking Essendon to cover that one too.
Yep.
Sunday, your beloved Hawks, Leo, take on the Brisbane Lions, who, this is an interesting one. Bit of success against them lately.
Yeah.
16.5-point favourites, the Brisbane Lions coming down to Marvel, where they're actually not that bad either. So the over-under is 165.5. This is a tricky one. How do we feel about this, Leo? Quick.
I feel sad from last week still.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Just forget about it.
Yeah, I got to forget about it. I don't mind it, to be honest. Like, we have a great record against Brisbane. We've won the last 4 meetings.
That's crazy.
We haven't lost at Marvel this year. And last time we choked a lead last year and lost the game, we came out and knocked off the Pies.
Nice.
So there's some good vibes going around.
Hawks fans will be up and about for this game. They'll be excited. Yeah.
Feels like a
to be
really
dashed.
big Josh Dunkley game. It's
It
like
does, doesn't
every
it?
time it
Yeah.
comes back to Marvel, it's like, yeah, I like this place.
We used to play
Why
there
did
every
I
week for the
leave
Dogs.
this place?
Yeah.
The big question here is if Brisbane gets smashed by Hawthorn, would you consider just go, all right, Fags, on your way?
No.
And then North will pick him up.
They'd be
instead of
4-6
Clark
and
and
1
Fagan.
if they lose this game. They are cooked in terms of playing finals at
I
that
don't know
point.
if the coach.
I
think-
disagree with that, actually. I'm going to get into that with my big call.
Ooh,
but-
interesting. I'm going to take, or like, can the Lions keep it the Marvel Magic? That's the sort of
Yeah,
question.
7
like-
and 1 there in their last 8, Brisbane. So we always used to talk about, even at the start of the year, how they're horrible at the G. So you go, oh, they don't travel that well, but they travel well. They just pretend, close their eyes, oh, we're at the Gabba, when they're 7
To
and
be
1
honest,
at Marvel.
there's not that much difference between Marvel and the Gabba.
What
I
about the
feel like.
ground dimensions,
Just
Jim?
imagine if they open the roof.
Whoa.
How do they compare to the SCG dimensions?
I think we need to get somebody on this.
Are we cutting out to Alex? He's live from Marvel.
He's busy punching a hole in a wall and chewing through some concrete. I'm tipping Hawthorn.
Oh, no.
I love this track record. I thought they were awesome last week, and I think Sam Mitchell has them pointed in the right direction.
Yep.
I think the Lions on the road. I can't trust, like Joey Danaher doesn't mind a snag or two down at Marvel, which is kind of good.
Yeah,
So
I reckon he could have a big day.
the ins and outs for this game, which we need to get to.
Yes.
You have Sicily. Don't send him to Tassie, it's Sicily. Josh Ward, Scrimshaw, Jack Gunston, and Finn McGuinness all in with an extended bench.
Yep.
The Wizard goes out, Nick Watson and Jai Sarong.
Omitted.
Also dropped. So
Wait, I'm thinking of, don't worry.
You're thinking Caleb Sorrell?
No, I'm thinking of someone else, don't worry. All
good job. Well explained, Stats Boy.
Oh, good. I
The
was thinking of
Lions,
another.
Brandon Ryan, Henry Smith, James Tunstall, Zach Bailey, which is pretty big.
It's huge.
Garrett Joyce as well. Shadow Brain, the world's greatest name,
he's
dropped.
dropped. Oh.
The tough one as well as Eric Hipwood, who got
Sorry,
suspended.
Bruce is still in, isn't he? Yeah, good old Bruce Revill.
He was really good last week. Got 75 in my Supercoach.
Love
So
it.
I love that the Lions have like the best name in the AFL and the best hair, which is very cool. So I'm on board with it.
They do have
But
the best
Hipwood, losing Hipwood, I'm fascinated to see how this works out because then you just go, we've got Chucky and we've got Joey Duckets.
They're still
those-
a good forward
For
line,
those
yeah.
playing along at home, that's Charlie Cameron and Joe Danaher.
Yep.
A couple of mustaches just hammering and tongs. I like this. Be interested to see if that actually opens it up for them.
Yeah.
And it really could, especially against this sort of pretty, to be honest, undermanned Hawthorn backline.
Yeah.
So they could just rip this off, but they do have CJ back. They now get Sicily back. I kind of trust the Hawks just to sort of like
Yeah.
get into the dirt, have a crack. So let's go Hawks.
I'm going Hawks as well.
Oh,
this is
you-
the first time I've tipped Hawthorn in years,
Wow.
so that means I'll lose. If
I'm
Bris-
changing my pick. Just
the
heads
thing
up.
with Brisbane though is, and this is one thing I'm not going to be able to watch it, but curious to see how it plays out is
Why won't you be able to watch it, Leo? Are you going to be on a plane or something?
potentially Jim. Yeah, potentially.
Flying the plane.
Fake fan.
Charlie Cameron versus Blake Hardwick. So Hardwick obviously kicked 5 goals for Hawthorn in 3 quarters, and then they moved him back. With Hardwick playing forward, who goes to Charlie Cameron?
That's what I was literally about to say that.
We
yeah.
need 2 Blake Hardwicks. Like we need to play him back. Just
clone him.
Well, they did
Charlie
it last
Cameron?
week. They played him back and forward.
Yeah, but he should have stayed forward because we would have
Exactly,
the game.
that's
Just
what I
stayed
said.
It's his
forward.
time. You kick 5, you let Chucky kick 5, and then he'll go back and stop.
It's equalisation.
Yeah. I'm not.
I'm a
I,
math magician.
I do. I'm excited for the Hawks. They won the last 4, but I'm going. I'm going
Won the
Brisbane.
last 4
Against
I was
Brisbane.
gonna
Yeah.
say, where was I?
We talked about it. No, you have definitely not won the last 4 in
Lions
this
for
year.
Stats Boy.
Yeah, Lions went by 19. Yep.
It is a really interesting, like it's a strangely interesting game for your
It is.
first game on the Sunday, right? Like 1:10 Marvel Sunday game.
Wake
You're
up
like,
and watch the game.
You're just like, hang on, wake up.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
God.
Stats guy's just getting home at that time.
The Stats Boy's like, Revs, woo. The over-under 165.5 is a fascinating one as well for that
Yeah.
game because you feel like Brisbane could put up a pretty handy score. I'd probably go the over there just because I think Hawthorn could probably kick enough
Hawthorn
of a
have
score.
been alright on offense,
Lions
yeah.
can stick with them, obviously. And then we go to the later game in Melbourne that afternoon. MCG 3:20, Melbourne versus St Kilda.
Oh, jeez.
This feels like a slog in my brain.
2 very unwatchable teams.
Two teams that don't know how to kick it through the big sticks.
153.5.
Actually, it's the same as the Collingwood.
Pretty
three
low
over-
one.
3 over and under. I think.
My big question for this, does this get 20,000 people in through the door?
Yes, but only through MCC.
Oh,
That's a good one.
yeah.
Ins and outs. In comes Ed Langdon, back fresh off a plane from London.
Yeah.
Roo comes back as well. Adam Tomlinson, Tom Fullerton, and Lockie Hunter. That's actually a pretty solid bunch of ins for the old Nam. Jake Lever, though, that's a big out. And Ben Brown, his hair's big, but it's not a big out. Euro Roke for the Saints, Stocker, Ryan Burns.
I don't mind that in, yeah.
Jack Higgins from his suspension.
Higgins is huge in, yeah.
And Seb Ross. Mateus Philippou. What is going on?
He was one of
there?
their best players last year.
He only had, 2 disposals, and then he had a goal in behind late last week.
It might be a confidence issue. He has the
Is
ability.
it just Ross Lyon hating dudes? And I think it might be.
He's his second year player.
Yeah.
We'll give him some time.
But he looked so good last year. It's just weird.
Tricky, gross
Second year
game.
Blues.
Second year Blues. Yeah.
All right. Stats, boy.
D's won the last 4 meetings. Saints, decent record at the G, 5-3 the last 4 seasons. They did ask the AFL to play more games at the G, and probably the AFL going, maybe get some bigger crowds and we might move you there. But
Maybe.
what are you doing, Saints? Melbourne 11th in offense, but 3rd in defense. So you got Lever out. Obviously, we talked about that during the week, which could hurt their defense. But you still got May, and Saints aren't really firing on offense. It's like none of their forwards are really. Higgins will be the decider if they can actually kick a decent score, I think. So, yeah.
It's a really strange setup, this one, because I think the Demons losing last week, it felt like we're going to win this game anyway.
Yeah.
And they completely underestimated West Coast and got run over.
By Harley Reid.
You don't. Whoa, Harley Reid, bam, bam.
We've got to mention Harley Reid.
Harley Reid. Away we go. Look, could it happen 2 weeks in a row?
Ooh, no, because Saints have been
form.
Melbourne are licking their lips. They're like, yes, we get to play Saints this week because Saints have been so bad. Saints, Richmond, and North the last month are pretty close together, and you wouldn't have thought you'd put Saints in that category. So.
Yeah, they don't play football you want to watch, do they?
No, they don't, because they have Ross Lyon as coach, the most annoying coach in the ever.
Meanwhile, the Demons 6-4 had a rough couple of weeks. Obviously, losing to Carlton, losing to West Coast. Beat Geelong just before that.
I forget that game happened.
That game, I don't think it actually happened, but
I was at the game and I don't think it actually happened.
They
have a lot to get through it, to be honest.
They haven't scored more than 80 points, I think. Oh, 85. There you go. In the last 6 weeks, right? 78.
Yeah, that's a bit of a
60, 85, 74, 76, 70.
I feel like there was something similar late last year where they couldn't score.
It was a massive swoon, right? And against the Saints, it's not going to get better.
Saints have a decent defense.
The Saints will just give them the old clamps and this will just get gross, drag them into the dirt. I'm still going to say the Demons by 17, just because I just don't trust the Saints to kick a winning score.
Can't trust them.
Can't trust them. And then it's just Steele versus a lot of good midfielders in the midfield.
So between Track and Co, they should be all right. So Melbourne by around. Look, the 18.5 point favourites. I think it lands right around there. So that's why I've gone 17. Stats, boy?
I'll go Melbourne by 20. I think they can even allow Track to go forward. They've been struggling forward, and every time he goes forward, he kicks goals.
5 goals against the Blues.
Saints midfielder hasn't been that good other than Steele, and he's sometimes a little bit inconsistent as well. So I think Clary will dominate in there. Viney, Demons by 20.
Yeah.
I think D's by 27. But one thing we haven't talked about, Gorm versus Marshall.
Ooh,
this is going to be an awesome matchup.
That'll be great.
For a game that doesn't appear to be that good.
My 2 All-Australian ruckmen at the moment.
This is going to be a really good matchup.
Because he's such a VFL head. He doesn't like Brodie Grundy. Doesn't like anyone outside of Victoria.
I love Brodie Grundy.
Just classic.
He's been a lot more inconsistent than Rowan Marshall.
But it is great because
I don't know about that actually.
Rowan Marshall and so who did they play last week?
They played.
They had a massive ruck battle.
I can't remember.
Freo.
Oh, it's Freo. Luke Jackson and Rowan Marshall both had massive
matchup.
SuperCoach
The week
scores,
before that, it was a big matchup with Meek.
Love it. Let's go.
Every game.
So Rowan Marshall's just dragging dudes to the contest time and time again. Gornicus.
Yep.
It's going to be great, actually, I reckon.
Maximus Aurelius Gornicus.
Yeah. Well, you can if you want.
Forget I'm going away.
You'll be more excited in Europe, I think.
Nice one. All right, we're all going D's. Adelaide West Coast. This is an interesting one as well. Of course, Isaac Rankine goes out. Well, let's look at the ins and outs for this one. We have Jaymz Bulldogs, Chris Burgess,
The real Italian film.
Harry Schoenberg, Kieran Strawn,
Strawny,
and Sam
Can
Berry.
we get Strawny on the show? That would be good.
Isaac Rankine obviously goes out, having pinged that hammy, and Elliot Himmelberg goes too. In for Waljit Marara. Sorry, that should have been the Crows or the Kuarana this week.
Yep.
Elliot, Andrew Gaff, Clay Hall, and Harry Edwards.
Clay Hall debut. I was going to say I did.
Extended bench.
Extended bench. Luke Edwards has dropped. Incredible game last week from the Eagles, aka the Harley Reid Eagles. Fascinating setup though, because I feel like they have actually played okay at the Adelaide Oval, the Eagles, I think, in some of the, even though they've been bad for a big chunk of the last few years, At Adelaide Oval, they've been vaguely competitive. So the over-under is 162.5 and the line is 27.5 points for Adelaide, which you lose ranking, but you should still smash a team like the Eagles. But the question is, will they? West Coast, how many of their last 24 away games have they lost, Stats Boy?
That's a very good question.
It's
23.
Yeah,
I was looking at
another
stat for you, which you'll be interested in. The Eagles, I'm just checking when their last win was at the Adelaide Oval. Their last win was 5 years ago or 4 years ago. Yeah. So they're 0-6. So basically
it goes against what you said.
0-6 in their last
I think
six.
a lot of those games, it was like definitely like ones where like...
They've had a couple of close ones, yeah.
Like Port, having had like Willie Rioli and stuff, like just suddenly West Coast like right there and you're like, oh, this is interesting.
Yep.
So we'll see what happens. Like the big question for this one is, can Harley Reid stiff arm the entire prom? Let's go. The entire team.
You predicted it last week.
I nailed it last week. This week it's going to be Jordan Dawson and Saligo and Tex Walker all at once.
At once.
One arm.
He's going to fend off with the Sharon.
Three of the biggest,
He could use Tex Walker to fend off the other two. He's just going to pick him up and just go, bang!
How much would Tex weigh? Wait, 100 kegs?
Just like, just out there, just like bicep curls with Tex Walker. It's going to be great.
Popeye, I reckon.
Harley Reid. I think the Crom struggle with this one a little bit.
Yep.
12 points. So Harley Reid will probably go off again. We get it. It's fine. The question is, like, he's been awesome at home. He hasn't been that great on some of these road games. It's fine. He's really, really young. I think West Coast just have a little bit of a vibe. The fact that they play Adelaide this week where it's come out like Elliot, is maybe looking at possibly a pretty big contract from the Crom. This is a fascinating setup. I love this. So I think the Eagles will play a little bit angry. I think they'll keep it tight. Adelaide still fall over the line by 12 points. What say you, Stats Boy?
Adelaide by 25. I think they're going okay. They've lost a couple of close games. It's the same story as last year, which annoys me. They should have probably beaten Collingwood. They did really well against Port and a few other teams at home as well. They fire up, usually, other than that game we saw them against Melbourne where they were horrible in gather round. So at home, I think, 25 is pretty comfortable. Won't cover the line.
When they beat the Blues.
Beat the Blues as well. I forgot about that. Yeah. So, I think at home, West Coast are just horrible away. If this was at Optus, you could almost tip West Coast. They're so good at home.
I'd tip them.
But in Adelaide, they got no chance.
I mean, the J Train at home, like Dom Sheed, Liam Ryan, Jack Darling. They've got a lot of experienced dudes still all of a sudden. If Yo's back and actually playing, Gas back and playing, Tom Barras, McGovern in the back line. Like, it's actually a pretty solid team. And I think this will be a really surprisingly tight game.
Are they rebuilding?
Who?
You name all those old
Adelaide.
guys. No, West Coast. Name all those old guys.
Well, this is the entire thing.
Because they've only got a couple of good young guys.
They've got no one in the middle. That's a problem.
Yeah.
They've got old dudes and young dudes and no one in the creamy middle.
Yeah, but none of their young dudes are like that good either.
Harley Reid's not good.
Whoa, Harley Reid, baby,
Obviously,
Harley Reid. That boy said he's not any good. No, don't need him. Oh, Harley Reid, baby, whoa, Harley Reid.
Obviously, I know Harley Reid's good.
Ruben Jimby's not good.
He's not that good.
Mate.
He's just big, mate.
Oh, you don't know ball.
All right.
Oscar Allen is a weapon and he is a gun. It just,
but he's not.
I can't wait for him to get back. I miss him so much. I feel like the J Train. I miss you so much, Oscar Allen. I need Oscar Allen back in my life.
Would you trade Oscar Allen for Charlie Curnow?
No, I wouldn't.
No, he would trade Harry Mackay and Charlie Curnow for Oscar Allen.
There we go, yeah.
Both. Maybe for the J Train. Let's talk. I love Jake Waterman. Who are you taking in this one, Leo?
Crom by 11. I just think with ranking out, there's sort of a missing hole in that midfield. They're a bit all of the same. Rashali might need a lift in there. So, I just think West Coast can keep it close.
Nice. Cool. Very cool. All right. Let's do the big calls for round 11. 11. If Melbourne and St Kilda can't get more than 20,000 to that game, they should have to merge.
The Melbourne Saints or the St Kilda D's?
They're going to be the Melbourne Saints.
Why don't we just do the mascots together?
Well, I think the St Demons is pretty funny.
Yeah, that's funny because it goes against
we're
each
running
other.
on a juxtaposition at this point. I'm all about it. Like, it is so frustrating to look. Demons fans, Saints fans, is like, we love our team. It's like, but there's 8 of you.
Yeah.
It's a worry. It's like, all the Demons fans go away to the snow. It's like, it's May. They're not taking their Range Rovers and their Grange to the snow just yet. Rock up to the bloody footy. What are you doing? Like, this is a game that Melbourne should smash the Saints. They should.
They should.
They likely won't because the Saints will just give them the old clamps. And Saints fans, like, sometimes they will rock up to the G in pretty big numbers and it's like awesome. Like, very fun times. At the same time, this is the sort of game that you want to rock up to and like, because you've got a bit of a shot. If you can't get more than 25,000, I did start at 20, I'll go to 25. 25, you should have to merge. Melbourne Saints.
How many Saints players actually get into the merged team though?
That's a really good question. Like 6 in the 22?
I reckon 6 in the whole list.
Yeah, it's tough.
Steele, obviously. Roll Marshall. Imagine, I was going to say, imagine.
It is literally a Fitzroy Brisbane situation. It's like,
we don't want any players.
It's like Gary
They may as well just
Pert.
trade St Kilda's best players to Melbourne.
It's like Alistair Lynch.
Get rid of the
We'll take
Saints.
him. Anyway, other one, North Pop the Power. Also,
No.
someone will definitely ask if Richmond deserves Dreamtime.
Surely not.
If they get smashed by 100 plus.
It's a great tradition, that
Surely
game.
If they get
not.
smashed by 100 plus, someone next week will go, are we sure that Richmond deserves
probably gonna be
Dreamtime?
Alex.
It might be.
Nah, he likes tradition. I'll back him.
Right. Leo, you had one written down.
Leo.
Go.
Hawks beat Lions.
Oh, yeah.
Please.
Brackets, please.
Please beat the Lions after last week. I want a win. Yeah, that's it really.
They want you to send you off to a month worth of STDs and booze with a win. I like that. Stats
Make
boy.
something happy.
I'm going Tomahawk bounce back game. Obviously, he's been horrible.
injured.
Yeah, but he's just been horrible. What did he have? 4 weeks in a row where he couldn't kick a goal.
Yep.
I remember that he kicked 5 in a final against GWS once. He averages over 2.5 goals against them. I just think he's going to fire at some point. I know he's getting a bit older and he's not going to be as consistent. I feel like at home, fire up the crowd, he'll get, I'm going to say 5+. Why not?
5+.
Why not?
Interesting.
Jezza will go more up the ground, I reckon. And then Tomahawk will just sit back and bear in
Who
the
does
square.
Sam Taylor go to then? Probably Tomahawk, I would have thought.
Probably.
I feel
Jezza's
like
going
Taylor
further up.
goes to Tomahawk.
So I don't think he's going to get 5 this. That's
No, well, that's a big call.
Maybe
You're wrong.
Jezza Cameron 6+.
Eden Hawks
Let's
aren't
go,
gonna win,
Jim.
so, yeah.
Messi 7+.
Harry McFive out at Marvel actually is not a bad idea. Keep an eye on for this weekend.
Yes.
Cats versus GWS. Both teams need to win.
They do.
They really do.
Both lost their last 3, yeah.
To reaffirm their contender status, which I really do appreciate because GWS, I loved them early on, but they didn't beat anybody. They got smashed by Carlton. Well, they got out-muscled by Carlton in the second half
it
of
was
that
a
game. And
convincing
literally,
win.
at that point, that was
convincing,
like where it all just sort of fell off a cliff. Toby Green's done absolutely nothing. Like, this is a perfect Toby
Didn't
Green.
he kick 4 last week?
Well, it feels like he's been...
For his season, though, his high standards, he's
Or was
been
it
off.
3?
I don't think it was 4. They only kicked like 5 goals last week.
Swear it was only him and Hogan that kicked the goals.
Might have
Maybe.
been.
Let's have a look.
But down there at the Cattery, it's going to be a fascinating
last
matchup.
week, yeah.
I like that.
There we go.
The other one, keep an eye on, can the Suns win away from the, I don't know, being the NT Suns? Can they?
No.
Will they? No. Keep an eye on Tassie!
Just Tassie. Just Tassie.
Why?
Why? Because weird stuff that happens in Tassie. Got to keep an eye on you.
Weird stuff that you don't want to keep an eye on.
Well, look, if you keep an eye on it, maybe weird stuff won't happen. Like, but if
you don't.
it'll always happen. It's Tassie. And obviously, as I said, keep an eye on the crowd at Demon Saints because this will be an interesting one. We understand that 18 teams at the moment. We're about to expand to 19. The idea is to move to 20.
They're not going to get rid of teams.
And if we're going to have like
Nervous
Demon
North
Saints that
fan,
get like no one, you're like, dude, what are we doing here?
Realistically, what do you think the crowd will be?
I think
To be honest,
30,
28,000.
No, Demons home game of the G. I reckon it's
28, 28
I reckon
35,
35, yeah.
40, I reckon. Yeah.
Still pretty gross, you know.
These dogs got like just over 40. in
These
round
fans
one.
don't turn up. Yeah.
It's weird. Anyway, anything else you guys want to keep an eye on?
Nothing from me.
No, I just really want North to win a game.
Sure. Well, I'm here trying to back you up,
And
here,
you're like,
stats boy.
no,
And you're like,
no,
never,
no.
Jim, never. We're never not going to win. Oh, I want us to win so bad.
Us tipping North isn't helping them.
Yes, it is.
What? This is
Bit of belief in the boys.
It's
talking
vibes. It's vibes.
vibes. Yeah,
It's
true.
all vibes. That's
I
my
used to be
entire,
vibes, and this year they've crushed me. Man.
my entire thing is
You were
vibes.
vibes last year.
I actually was, weirdly enough.
No,
This is the
you
first
weren't.
year I've been really sad. Anyway.
Blacko ball. Right, SuperCoach, vibes, tips, thoughts, vice captains, captains.
I need to
What
do
are
my
we looking
team. Jeez.
at? So
Starting in 3 minutes.
Joel Frazier has actually been named. Obviously, he's got the big old green tick. He's one of the 2 biggest ins for the week. The other one is Joe Richards for the Pies. Out goes Darcy Jones for the most part because he's injured. I traded out Cadman and Rankine to Zorko and Richards. Pretty straightforward.
Pretty good,
one. Yeah, I still need a bit of one more back line upgrade and a couple more on the forward line because it's a horror show, right? But the VC and captain vibes this week, Caleb Sarong. That's the one for me. He's playing against the Pies. We know that their midfielders also, giving up pretty hefty scores to midfielders here and there. And Sarong just loves playing at home. He's ripped off 170, 150, 125,
Sarong,
140, and I think a 117 at home this year. So I'm going to throw the VC on him on Friday night and probably roll that into either Nick Martin, Dreamtime.
Against Richmond, yeah.
Against
Do you have Zach
Richmond.
Merritt? I don't have Zach Merritt.
I don't have Zerrett either, so
I feel like he'd be a good option. Yeah.
I'd rather go Zerrett over Martin, but that's where we are. The other ones are obviously Jordan Sweet being back is very big, so you can always keep an eye on that. And the other ones are, I think there was very, very little in the way of rookies. And like
Sean Darcy's back, which will impact Jackson.
Luke Jackson probably goes forward a little bit. In terms of like betting stuff, it's probably better for him to kick a goal or so, which I think we threw out in the tab SuperCoach pick for today, where it's like Luke Jackson playing a little bit more forward.
Yep.
Probably a little bit better of a look at an anytime goal there,
definitely.
if not 2. I think he's kicked 8 goals this year and he's kicked 2 in 4 games. So when he's gone forward, he's kicked at least 2 goals. Pretty weird. So he's going to be interesting when he goes forward, especially in the SuperCoach. Any other vibes on your VCs?
I'm going Bont VC and Dacos captain, mainly because I do not have Sarong.
Oh,
That's a bit unlucky.
that's sad.
Yeah, I'm going Sarong vice captain as well. I was tempted with Heaney, but I don't know. This could be a really close game, so I don't think he's going to get that massive score. Whereas Sarong, he got 150 against Sydney when they got smashed by Sydney, so I think he's more reliable.
I like that one. There you go. Was there anything else you wanted to hit on there? I think, how far away from upgrading your teams fully, gentlemen?
I think I'm
a while away.
1 defender / mid because I got Martin who can move anywhere.
Nice.
And then I think I'm 2 or 3 forwards.
It's about the same.
I'm the same, yeah. One.
It depends whether you count Powell and Reed as like end product forwards.
Reed's not, but yeah,
They could like that.
Oh, Harley Reid, he's a product of the forward. Oh, Harley Reid.
product on the phone.
Love this. Cram, get at me, we'll talk. What is he? I feel like he's a Saints fan, Cram. Anyway.
I don't know, I haven't met him.
Don't even know who you're talking
I
about.
think you're best mates. Anyway, any other SuperCoach tips, vibes, thoughts, things?
I'm going Freya as my rookie option, or Fraser, however you pronounce it.
I just brought him in just then.
I only did it because if I was to go Richards, I can't get Whitfield, and that was the primo that I could afford.
The Whitfield one back in the back line is interesting, right? Because he's so cheap at the moment, but at the same time, he's cheap for a reason. He's had a rough.
Well, he only had
weeks,
one bad game. He did get tagged against Essendon, but he scored 100 still.
Yeah. So it's interesting. It's a good one.
Yeah.
I actually thought about him last week, but I managed to swing that Martin trade. So happy days. All right. But there you go. That's the AFL Today Show for this week. For today, we'll be back on Sunday with the AFL Today Show. That's right. It'll be the Sunday night wrap show. That'll be a weird one because I've got to run off and go to a gig. So we better sort that one out early, I reckon. Either way, thank you to the Stats Boy.
Thank you very much.
And thank you to this social guy.
Thanks, Jim.
He's about to just jet off to Europe in about 25
Jealous,
minutes.
yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah, you're taking me to the airport, right?
Definitely yes. I'm just going to walk out that door and you'll never see me again. Remember to smash a like across all the socials. That's all the stuff that he does, as well as our good mate Spence. But you can see us doing stuff and filling in all your footy gaps throughout this year, of course, on Facey, IG, X, Threads, TikTok, and of course YouTube, all the good stuff. You can check out all of our shows, in fact, the Cricket Today podcast, the Football Today podcast, a very, very excellent NBA show. It's called NBA Australia. It's hosted by your mate Jim. Just me yelling a lot. And hold all tickets if you like your yelling, but you like it about GG's. There you go. Subscribe, star, and like all of our shows, of course, across all your podcast apps. Get around them like Dipper, getting around mangling the pronunciation of every single word.
He used to always, I
love
stuff
that.
on a few words.
Stats guys! It's like, that's not how you say it. I love you, Dipper. All throughout his life. If there was any other person I'd love on this show, it'd probably be Dipper.
Well, you could get him.
Let's do it.
Let's get him.
Tee it up. All right, that's it. We'll catch you later this week, Sunday night, for the wrap show of the AFL Today Show. Until then, look after yourselves. Have a great weekend of footy, because remember, footy's back. If you like this show, make sure you check out all the other shows on the Sports Today Network, from the AFL Today Show to the Cricket Today podcast, the Football Today podcast, as well as NBA Australia and NFL Australia. With Sports Today, your sporting needs have never been easier to cover.